Hello everyone, I'm Joe Ackourey, and welcome to the Fly of the Week. For this episode, episode 45, I'll be tying the Green Inch Worm made from spun deer hair. So without further ado, let's get started. The Green Inch Worm made from spun deer hair. Pretty much make sure your hook is in the vise and the shank is parallel with the tabletop, and cover the entire shank of the hook with thread. Make sure you give it a good coating. So this fly, I mean, it's a great terrestrial. Works great in June, mid-June. You start seeing those green inchworms hanging off the trees off a web, and the trout anxiously awaiting for them to drop in the water. But again, it's a very effective pattern in the months of June and July. But my main focus here today is to give you a lesson on spinning deer hair. Now, this is the most basic way to spin deer hair that I know of, and I just want to share it with you. So, first off, you need to select the deer hair from the body. The body deer hair is very hollow, and it's really easy to spin from the method I'm going to show you. But the hair is thicker at the base where the hide is and thinner as you go up. So you're going to start off by taking a gap's worth, and let's make sure we're at the very end of the shank of the hook, right where the gap and the bend in the shank meet. I was off a little bit there. So I'm going to take about a gap's worth, and we're going to comb out any fuzz that may be in between, but there's not much there. There's actually none there. And we're going to start the process. So I like to cut the natural ends off because it'll be easier for you to work with. Now, the natural ends are thinner than the cut ends. Cut ends are really thick and hollow. So what I do to spin the deer hair, I'm going to tighten my thread up a little bit. You can spin it, you're bobbing clockwise or counterclockwise, it doesn't matter. You're going to lay the bunch of deer hair on top of the shank of the hook, and you're going to wrap right in the center of that bunch and pull down and kind of get a set in there and let it spin all the way around, 360 degrees around the shank. You're going to have to help out the first couple of wraps because you have to help it around the bend to get, out of, it gets stuck in the gap. The fibers are stuck in the gap, the deer hair fibers, and you're going to wrap through the cut ends very carefully and watch you don't hit the point of the hook with your thread. So you'll see them standing up as I wrap through, and you kind of get your left and right hand, you push them together so it's nice and tight. And you're going to repeat this probably 5, 6, 7 times up the shank of the hook. So what I like to do, again, clean out if there's any fuzz, get rid of it, but there doesn't appear to be any fuzz in here. Clip off the natural ends. Now, the first bunch I put, the thin ends were going to the left, or my left, and the cut ends were going to the right. What I'm going to do is alternate that with each bunch. I'm going to put the thick ends now going to the left. I'm going to wrap my thread, 1, 2, and then let it spin. It just naturally wants to spin. And wrap through the cut ends. Wrap through all of them, going 1 thread thickness up. And you see how nice that spun. And just push them 2 bunches together. And make sure they're tight together, because you want that bunches of deer hair to be tight together, because this is what's going to make it float. The deer hair is hollow, and from the body, that is, from the body, not the tail. The deer hair is hollow, and it is great for flotation. So when we pack this together, we're compacting it and making it tighter, and getting more of those fibers together to help it float. The more you get in an area, the better you're going to be. So here we go again. Just repeating this process all the way up the shank. And then we're going to cut the ends off, the natural ends. And now I'm going to go back to putting the cut ends, or the thinner ends, to the left, or my left that is, and the thicker ends out toward the eye. So I want to wrap my thread right in the center of that bunch and making sure that it's up against the previous bunch. Get one wrap, two wrap, and then let it go, let it spin. Like kind of force it around and wrap through those cut ends. One thickness of thread moving forward. Do not advance faster than one thickness of thread. Now, pack those bunches together. The more you pack in, the better it's going to float. So that was our third bunch. Here we go again. Our fourth bunch. Clip off the cut ends. Alternate your thick and thin. This time the thick ends are going toward the left and the thin ends are going to the right. Make sure that this bunch I'm going to put on there is up against the shank of the hook and up against the previous bunch, as close as possible. So you're going to put one wrap, two wraps, let it go, spin that around, help it around. Wrap through the cut ends. One thickness of a thread up through the bunch. And again, there's several ways to spin deer hair. This is just the most basic that I know of. And just pack them together. It takes a lot of force, but just pack them in and follow up with some, keeping that nice thread foundation. So we're just a little more than halfway done. Repeat the process. Clean out your fuzz if there's any. Clip off the tops. Alternate your bunch. One wrap, two wraps, let it spin. Wrap through the cut ends. One thickness of the thread at a time. Push the hair back to the previous bunch. I'm really packing hard, guys. I'm not kidding. It's a lot of force. We just keep making our way up. Cut another bunch. Clean out the fuzz. Clip off the exit or the natural ends. Alternate your bunch. Put one wrap in the center of that bunch. Second wrap, help it spin. Wrap through the cut ends, one thickness of the thread at a time. Keep a lot of tension on that thread. That's all I could tell you. It'll make a much better body. Okay, pack that in. I think I have room for one more bunch. Barely. We're gonna go a little light on the last bunch. Just enough to cover the front of that right up to the eye. So clip off tops, clean out any fuzz, alternate your bunches. One, two, spin, help it around. There we go. Right up to the eye, guys. Pack that in. Looks like a big mess to me. Now sneak your knot in there somewhere. Just one, two. Just gonna do a quick whip finish in there. And again, I'm using 8/0, or I'm sorry, this is 6/0 thread. Now, we're pretty much done with spinning the deer hair for this inchworm. And now, all that work is going to get clipped off. Clip off the top, the sides, the bottom. You can make short work of these pretty quickly. Shape it into a cigar shape. And these babies float like a cork. It looks like a mess right now, but you know, a little bit of work. We'll get rid of all this on the side. And you'll start to see your inchworm appear right before your eyes. Just keep cleaning it up. Do yourself a favor and You could use scissors. I've seen guys use razor blades to achieve the nice look. For this one, I just like to use a pair of scissors. This is a pretty simple fly to tie. And I just like to go around it. And again, this is just one method on how to tie up an inchworm. It's a pretty effective one. And it floats like a cork. Trust me. All that deer hair. Put a drop of head cement on your finishing knot. Got a couple wild ones back there hanging off. So pretty much, guys, this was just a lesson on spinning deer hair. And you see how effective that lesson was. Nice, quick and easy tie. You know, no major hassles, but a very effective pattern. There you have it. The spun deer body green inchworm. Thank you for joining me for this episode, and looking forward to seeing you guys in the next. Tight lines, guys.